Hello. Today we're going to talk about improving your microphone with built-in filters in OBS and how you can also use external VST plugins to do the same thing. Alright, so we're looking at OBS here. Now, I'm going to assume generally that you have one input that's your mic and one input that's sound, or in this case I have a song, a Qbert original that we can use for example. So, quick note on compression, which is what we're talking about today. In short, compression is a method of signal processing that either increases or decreases a signal based on a input signal. To put it another way, compression will reduce the sound as it gets louder. This is good for catching peaks, which we'll do with a limiter, which is just a specific kind of compressor. I highly recommend, and I'll link that page in the description, checking out the whole Wikipedia page on compression. The short version is that we use compression or limiting to catch the peaks of our audio. Now, in you can see I was experimenting here ahead of time. In our filters here, you can see I clicked on my audio and went to filters. This is my microphone here. There are two options. We have a compressor and a limiter. For the purposes of this demonstration, we'll use the limiter. The threshold is at which point the limiter kicks in, and you can see if I turn it way down here, you can't hear me anymore because now my audio is being limited way down here. The purpose of this is to go, okay, if I'm going to go shout, then, even if I shout and make lots and lots of noise, my mic is only ever going to hit this limit. A 1 or 2 decibel limit is generally good, although I do suggest experimenting. The release is how long it takes for the limiter to stop limiting. We can turn this up all the way to 1 second, and it's gonna stay at that limited point for as long as a full second. In the case of where we're talking into a stream, generally a decently fast release, the default of 60 milliseconds is probably appropriate. You can increase that if you're if there's maybe a lot of background noise, but for your general streams that we're doing on Twitch, a fast release is perfectly acceptable. Now, we can limit this a lot. And then add an expander, which will then turn our volume up even more. Which will then volume correct and turn our volume up. So everything is then now at one level. I might suggest that if you need both a limiter and an expander, maybe think about how you're... I'm going to need to just re-record this whole thing, aren't I? Yeah. And also because we can talk about ratio here and talk about how what we could do is just really... Oh, now you can't hear me at all. Yeah, okay. So let's see, at what point does this stop kicking in? Okay. Hey, ho, ho. What do you know? Whoa. And that's because we turn the threshold way up. What the limiter actually lacks here is an output gain, because what we could do is set our ratio really high here. I mean, a super fast attack is going to be what we want one way or another. Not sure if that actually turns it off or not. And then we can use our output gain to kind of control where is our volume going to be ultimately. Here we'll want a longer release. Let me just delete this just in case. Yeah, I think I like the compressor better than the limiter. Just make that a really long release because we're talking, so. Oh no, we don't want to do. We want to do something like that. Not quite an infinite ratio, but so now we're just squashing the shit out of our voice, but we're able to. If I yell, there is a peak there, and see that's where. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to. We're gonna have to listen back to this and see. I wish there was a way. Well, there is a way. I could totally, but there's still these peaks, which was the entire purpose of the limiter, and maybe that's what we need to do is really do a limiter after the compressor, and just make sure that what, yeah, even hello 7. Oh no, come back. Cool. All right, so if we go back here and maybe move this back up to 0, and yeah, okay, so it doesn't look like I mean, we peek into the red occasionally, but that's okay. And I mean, really, it's all relative, right? Personally, I like to push it closer to 0, so I might do, like -1 here, and then and even still, like with the compressor, we're still kind of hello, hey, ho. See, and it's just not a fast enough attack, I don't think. Like, even that 1 millisecond, I think, is where that peak is coming from. Okay, so that peaks each time. It's weird. Anyway, the compressor and the limiter is a good way to kind of control the dynamics of your what do you call it, microphone, your input. This is taking longer than I expected to. So next, I don't know if you saw it in that last thing there, when we added compressor, there is a sidechain ducking source. And what we want to do is mic in is our sidechain ducking source. And so okay. So let's get rid of this here real quick. So while I'm playing this, well, you can't hear that, so that's interesting. I swear. My brain. Hey, get off the speaker. Get down. Hey. Get off of there. Get down. Oh, that's main laptop sound. Okay, you need 9 and 10. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, but get off the fucking speaker. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. I fucking love my Motu, by the way, but you probably can't hear me too well, right? And if you couldn't hear me too well, what I said was that I love my Motu, and you probably couldn't hear me too well. Like, you can hear maybe some peaks, but as you can see from the VU meter here, like we've normalized our volume, so we're not ever gonna get too loud. I mean, there are hey hoo ha 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 ha. So I mean, we can push it up there, I guess. And maybe that's where like having a limiter first might help too. You know, OBS filters are not meant to be entirely comprehensive, I suppose. But the point is that okay, we've got audio going on, but you can't hear me because the music is louder than my mic, which is where the sidechain comes in. So what we can do is use mic in as our sidechain source. We'll crank our ratio here, and turn our threshold down. Lower threshold means quieter sounds will trigger the compressor. Yeah, I think that's probably something that could be fixed too. Anyway, go back to playing this, and then we can see that when I start talking, it turns the volume of the music down so that now you can hear me talking over. We can turn the release way up, and it'll gradually come back up. For something like this, we'll want to do, you know, maybe a faster release. And then now the music's free to do whatever it wants, and then when I talk, my mic is just going to automatically attenuate the music, and I'm able to now talk over the music or talk over whatever the main audio source is, because we're using the sidechain ducking here. Okay, so we can also use an external plugins. Currently, let's see, we'll just call it VST plugin for now. Frontier here. D16 Frontier. Again, I will link this. This is a free compressor. Really, I guess it's a limiter, but it's basically a hardware emulation, or it's a software emulation of hardware. It's a hardware emulation. It's a hardware emulation in software. I should just write out a script and read it. That would probably be better than trying to freestyle it like this. Anyway, download it, install it, rock and roll. There are both Windows and Mac installers. I don't think it even gives you a choice, which annoys me, but if you install it in the default location, OBS will just know where to find it. And then you can open the plugin interface, and it requires activation. I could have sworn I did this already. Ugh. There isn't a pause recording. Alright, well. Go look at this for a second. Oh. Well, always fun. I guess we can always go back to. I said, this is a terrible interface. From OBS. I don't know what the deal is. Basically, this same controls, just different. I mean, again, it was meant to emulate hardware. I don't know if it's actually working or not. I feel like I swear this was working before. I tried to do this, and then now when I do it, we go 130. Well, okay, and there's some interesting presets here. Yeah, I believe the LR here is dual mono. Your threshold is going to be, see, and this is where I don't think it's working, because if it was our threshold and our output level at 0, that should be nothing. Our output meter should say something, Oh, well, if I added it on the wrong device, that helps too. So, hello. Oh, look at that. Okay. Okay. Well, see, now we can actually see our output meter moving, and if we change our threshold, we can see how much we're being limited. Again, when we change our output level down, you're not going to hear me as much, but then we can turn it up, and yeah, I mean, we can go way high. This has a much better, like I said, this has a much better attack. I feel like even the 1 millisecond was maybe too much on the other one. Also, this has a soft clip, although it seems like maybe we're not triggering the soft clip for some reason. Oh, there it is. Hello. Hello. Check. Mic check. Mic check. This is probably all distorted to shit, isn't it? So we're soft clipping here, but our output is way high. So, yeah. When used properly, it looks like it's not gonna probably soft clip too. But again, like if we're talking, we probably don't necessarily want harmonics. Yeah, long story short, just a taste. And I'll probably need to re-record this because this probably is all just over the place. The other thing that I think I want to do is go through the Melda install. Because when we install here, we install Melda for the purposes of OBS. Unselect VST3 plugins. OBS is unable to use VST3 plugins as far as I can tell. Maybe I'm not doing it right. AX plugins OBS definitely can't use, and the M Sound factory instruments. The only thing you should do for OBS is the VST plugins. There are a bunch of plugins here. If you select the free bundle, it's going to install all of these. You probably don't need a metronome. I don't know. Do you need a noise generator really, or a notepad? Yes, clear the selection. M Analyzer. M Auto Pitch is basically an auto tune. Verb, if you want some reverb, M Charm Verb is give you some reverb. M Compressor we want. Convolution Easy, yeah, that's another reverb if you really want it. M Equalizer is an EQ. Loudness Analyzer is maybe not a bad one to have. It analyzes the loudness. There's a difference between instantaneous and perceived loudness. Far more than to get into in this stream. Again, you probably don't need the noise generator, notepad, an oscillator, an oscope. I don't honestly even know what M ratio is. I don't think you can do cross sidechaining and VST plugins in OBS. Saturator is not a bad one to have. Tuner if you really need it. stereo expander and stereoscope are, you're probably not going to need them, but again, you can probably leave this as default. If you have any previous plugins from Melda, you can do a cleanup. A lot. Over the place. I gave you locations. All right. Anyway, now we have those installed. We can do VST plugin and go okay. Like I said, Equalizer. If we need to do an EQ, hey, we can boost certain parts and say, oh yeah, we want to boost our bass. There's got to be a way to get this to not show the whole window, but I don't know it. Analyzer, like I said, is just it's a frequency analyzer, and it gives you kind of, here's what your sound audio signal looks like. Here's the different frequencies that are peaking. This in conjunction with the EQ is useful. The EQ has its own auto pitch, as I said, is basically an auto tune. I don't know what this sounds like. Now I'm in C major, I guess. Let's see, what else do we have here? Yeah, like I said, the stereoscope is going to show you a stereo, and this is mono, so, well, go figure. If we add a stereo expander before and then do the stereoscope, this may, well, nope. Where did our, there we go. All right, so I don't think we're doing anything. So, yeah, okay. So here's the M compressor, but as I said earlier, like there is no sidechain.